right, Eagles, here we go.
We are back. We got a good one here.
Listen, have y'all heard that what is it? Not a meme. What is it? I'm like the old people. The things that the videos they have on the TV screen. The reels and the TikTok where they like, here we go again. Here we go again.
Let's do this.
All right, we are talking today. Now, if you were here for episode 103, we kicked off this conversation with what to do when friends and family don't support your business.
Yep.
Now, my baby CL gave you a great tip, but I'm not going to tell you the tip here. You need to go back and listen to the episode, then hop in comments or give us a review about that.
Please do.
But today, honey, tell them what we're talking about.
We're talking about building a support system. And if anybody was at the Second Eagle Talk, my talk was about how I did it alone. So this is a really actually good subject for me and for you guys. So let's do it.
Yeah. So we have definitely touched on parts of this subject before, but we're going to really talk about what it looks like to truly build a support system, because this is something that we know is that a lot of people find themselves, not everybody, on a job, and you're like, it has to be a different way, right? And that different way, that path that you take is entrepreneurship. But somewhere along the path, you figure out like, I'm doing it all. Or you feel like you have to do it all. Whether that is you don't want nobody in your business, whether you think your mom and them don't support you, whether you have bought into the idea that you can't afford to bring on help, or whether you just don't have an entrepreneur friend to just be honest about the ups and downs of business, you can reach burnout and eventually go ask for your job back if we don't have supports in place. And that is not what we want for you. That is not what we want for ourselves. And we're just going to talk about like literally how to build a support system around the beautiful business that you're building. But first, I want Corey to just share with us what your mindset used to be like, right? Because you were very much I can do it. Like I can do it by myself type person. So tell me kind of why you think you were wired like that and how that perspective has shifted.
Why I think I was wired like that is because I mentioned before, it was modeled like that from the family business that my uncle had. He did everything alone. And he made all of the decisions, right? So if the decision was... So
he had employees, but he was the management, the leadership, like everyone took from him only.
And I love you, Uncle Ken, but whatever worked was him, and whatever didn't work
was somebody. Okay.
So, you know, and I learned from that, but I will say, full disclosure, the first question on here is, why build a support system?
Yeah.
Right. That's why.
Yeah.
Because you need other people. You need accountability, first of all. And then you need almost, I won't call them a board of directors, but you need somebody kind of guiding your thoughts and your decisions.
Yeah.
And I don't care how long, I can sit here and brag on how long I've been in business, but I've just really identified that to be a weakness in my business within the last maybe 3 years. Yeah.
So it's funny because Corey and I we have a podcast, so we too are avid podcast listeners. And I was listening to a podcast by Amy Porterfield, who Amy is the GOAT in my life. Like, I mean, Jesus is the GOAT, but I'm talking in terms of digital marketing, things like that. I really, really like y'all. One day you're going to see me at Amy's house eating dinner. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I never even really seen nobody at her house eating dinner. But you're going to see, like, I just admire her so. But anywho, on her podcast, she had Don Miller, I think it is. It's the guy who wrote Building a Story Brand. And he has a new book about how to pretty much, it's a simple book. I forget the title of it. We'll put it in there, but something like how to scale your business or how to grow your small business, I think is the name of it. Growing it from being a mom and pop to a multi-million-dollar business.
Oh wait, is this what we just listened to?
Yeah, that's one I just sent to you.
You got to put that in.
We'll put it in here. Yeah. But what I was sharing, what he said is that Don Miller on that interview, he said that somebody sat him down about 5 or 6 years ago and said, if you die, your business dies, right? Because you are the business. And not necessarily if you die, but like if you go on vacation or if you decide you don't want to work at this capacity or whatever it is, everything is solely dependent on you. So that is definitely one reason to have a support system. And one person that I feel like does this well, and I really appreciate it for him for this, is our pastor.
Oh yeah.
I love that our pastor, like, he tells us at church, but he has it in there, like 20 days a year, 20 Sundays a year, he is not preaching, right? And he does that not because, now pastor do be kicking it. I see you on vacation sometimes, which he deserves vacation.
Dubai,
but
Bahamas,
right. But he teaches, he coaches, it frees him up to go and plant and support other leaders. But more importantly, our church is not dependent on him. He is training us, in the event that he retires or steps away or something like that. The church does not have to dissolve because he's no longer a part of it. And you think about, like, that's a great example. You think about a church, if pastor died or not, a pastor died or retires or something, the whole church dissimulate and somebody don't never go to church no more. Right. And we don't want to operate our businesses like that, because we all should be working to build something that lives on far after us. So that's definitely one of the reasons to have a support system.
Okay, so a couple of things to unpack there. I've had numerous conversations with Pastor about that subject, and that's 100% intentional.
Yep.
He brings people in, and he said, I am not one community, right? Yep. If he retires or if he
steps away or whatever that looks like.
6 months, right? He still wants people to be led and to be led by really good leaders and communicators. So that's intentional. Second thing, it's a small example, but when you were speaking, I was thinking about the barber school. Yep. And one thing that I know, I've never worked in a barber shop, right? I went from school to owning a school. But the thing that I knew is if I turned my clippers off, I wasn't making any money.
Yeah. And
with the school, the students pay tuition and all of the haircut money goes to the school, because legally the students can't take payment, right? They can only get tips. And that's what we're saying, right? If it's something that you're not doing, the people around you will still be doing it and the business will still be profitable.
Yep.
So that's just a form of the support system, or a way to support and continue to grow your business.
No, absolutely. And I'm even thinking, okay, so another reason to how, so one is we want the business to go on without you, right? And that should be the goal of business, is to at some point have some time freedom. Yeah. But whatever business you're building, to be able to work for you. But then here's another perspective, and we talked about this in episode 88. When we talked about the different who's you need, and a book that we've recommended several times is Who Not How, is that you need a support system, because sometimes we're working on things that are not only the best use of our time, but not the best use of our strengths. Okay. I can think of so many different things in my business that I'm able to execute. On the outside looking in, it looks like, oh, Rosemary is able to execute this. No, fools, I have support. I have support. I have identified who's, and I'm really working, like we were just talking about, bringing on a personal assistant, identifying who's that, I'm not great at copy, but my friend is better at me. She probably rolling her eyes at me because she don't really want to do it, but she's better than me. I'm not great at graphic design, so I have somebody who's better at that, right? And then I can even take it very elementary to today. I had a conflict in schedule, right? I needed to be here to record Eagle Talk, but then I had a last minute thing with a client where a door needed to be open. So I had to have a who in place who could go and help me, so I was able to be essentially in two places at once. And at the end of the day, by building a support system, what it really does is, I think what we're saying, whether it's money or whether it's putting the right who's in place, it gives you the time freedom to focus on what really works for you. Now we need to tell them how to build the support system. Yeah. So you want to type in there?
Okay. So let me say this. In most cases, not all, friends and family don't work. In our case, Kim works. Right? And Kim works very, very well for us, right? But
so we're gonna back up. If you haven't watched episode 88, Kim is my very good friend, our very good friend, who came on to support all the things, right? Yeah. But I will say Kim works, but we were very intentional because we messed up. Because we didn't have the knowledge before, we made sure to hire Kim for the position and not Kim for the person.
I like that.
If that makes sense. Yeah. So there was just some different things that we went through to make sure that this was going to be a good fit based on her skill set, that instead of based on, I feel bad, I want to give her opportunity. That was not the situation.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, we just had that conversation when we were considering another person for a position in the company, and we listened to her story and kind of felt just a little bit of sympathy. Right. And I think that would have been more for the person and not the position.
Exactly. And we had to say, okay, if we do decide to work with this person, is it because they're a good fit, or are we jaded by the situation?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you asked me a direct question about how
to build your support system.
I think that you need to ask a lot of questions, which is what we did to the young lady.
Yeah.
Which is why we were able to drill down so deep and kind of find out if she was the right one. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think you need to ask a lot of questions, and I think you need to come to the table really knowing what you need.
Yeah.
There is a question on here about maintaining and strengthening your support system, which I want to speak on just really quick. And I kind of got to give a shout out to you and Kim, because you guys do a very, very good job at this. Mine is, I'm continuing to seek information just every single day, right? But you guys, you showed me something last night, which was the scorecard.
Yeah.
And that was a game changer for me. I mean, you part of the 12-week year, right? But the strengthening part there, I think you guys play off each other on that. And I think week to week, you're kind of honing your skills on how to strengthen certain things in the business. And even me just sitting there for 10 minutes last night, learning that was like, okay, this is something that I need to adapt and incorporate into not my business, but my lifestyle.
Yeah, your life in general.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was just a teachable moment for me.
So you just said something there that just made me think about when it says how to build a support system, and you said, okay, what supports? I think the very first thing, and I'm going to give just 3 different categories, is identifying what type of support, like what does support system mean, right? Because I don't need people just sharing my Instagram posts. I need them buying houses from me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what type of supports do you need? So I think the first type of support that you may need to consider is literally in your business, who do you need supporting you to get the jobs done and get them done most efficiently? And sometimes that may look like, who do I need to hire? Yeah. Who do I need to partner with? Who do I need to go into joint ventures with for certain opportunities? Okay. Yeah. So I think that there is a space to really consider that. The second part that I want to think of, okay, in terms of support system, which you were just speaking about from the 12-week year, is, okay, what are some systems that I can put in place that will help support me? And then there still might need to be a who, and who's going to help me? Who can we be working together to be accountable to these systems? Okay. So the first one was who's in your business. The second support system was supports in terms of what systems do I put in place to make sure I actually execute. Yeah. Because here's my thing. I want to learn this stuff too, but comes to a point where I'm done learning. Yeah. Right. And that is where me and you, not that we butt heads, but I can't listen to information all day, every day.
Yeah, it's information overload for sure.
Yeah. I have to stop and do something with what I've done. I literally had a thought, and if you probably have seen this reel, but I had a thought for real estate agents, you better not sign up for another training until you do something from the last training. Yeah. Because a lot of times part of our challenge is that we just consume and never execute. So part of your support system, building your support system, is really what systems do we need? And Corey is referencing the 12-week year. That, along with Atomic Habits, y'all, is just really changing the way that I am approaching, and we are approaching a lot of things in business. Then here's the third one. When we say building the support, I truly believe, and this is the part where I really feel like a lot of entrepreneurs or people just lack because we don't want nobody in our business, is we need to build a support system around our peers. Right?
Say more.
So we need to build a support system around people who are, even if you're not doing the same type of business, but I think entrepreneurs need to be talking to entrepreneurs. That's why we have Eagle Talk. I think that, wives who are looking to build Christian marriages need to be talking to other wives looking to build Christian marriages, right? I feel like, people who are trying to lose weight, you need to link arms with somebody else who's trying to lose weight, because there are going to be certain struggles that you are going to encounter or certain wins. It's not always a struggle. And it takes somebody being in a same or similar space in order for them to, for y'all to understand and have authentic conversation. And I want you to share, because we just, we have a group of friends that we meet with every couple of weeks, and it literally is for the purpose of building capacity as entrepreneurs, where we all come and share with each other.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that you definitely need to, as you say, be around those like-minded people, especially in the entrepreneurship space. And I also think that let's go back to systems real quick, because I think that was a part of the puzzle where the piece didn't fit for me, right? And we talked about it last night, to where, going back to the scorecard, I was trying to develop all of these systems and all of these people and put them in places, but it's kind of like, okay, what's the goal? Yeah. Okay, so if you identify the goal, then you can add the systems to get to the goal. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think that the conversations that we have with our peers, our peer group, I think that kind of keeps us focused on exactly what each person individually is trying to do in their business. Exactly. I also speak on this episode 81 with Johnny Collins. He talking about the power of networking. I think the people that you have in your life, especially in the inner circle, need to be able to keep it real with you. Yeah. And it's funny because we were talking, I was telling Johnny, I don't know if I was telling him about your the speech class that you're doing, and us just having different, upcoming speaking opportunities and obligations. And he said, that's great. He said, because you know what? You're horrible at telling your story. That's what he told me, like, to my face. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. Because it's a lot of stuff I glaze over. It's a lot of stuff I don't want to share. Whether it's embarrassment or it just could be too raw for the public, right? But he was like, no, if you're going to give it to him, then give it to him. But make sure that you are articulating and giving, everything for a person to understand who you are. Yeah, and you're honing your skills, and you need a peer to be able to tell you honestly. Like, I mean, Johnny is really raw, like, you horrible. Yeah. I might be like, oh, baby, maybe we can reword that. And it wasn't offensive to me, but it was just like, well, I need to get better at. And you need people to do that. I'm thinking Kim and I. So it's crazy because Kim, like, obviously is our COO. She's just like, she it for us. That's what we're gonna call it. It. But yesterday, Kim and I decided we were going to get up in the morning and ride. It was her 900th Peloton ride. Wow. And it was right. Shout out to Congratulations, Kim, on number 900. So I'm like, so before I knew what I had said, though, she was like, man, I should get up tomorrow and ride at 5:30. Oh, you agreed? I was like, I'll ride with you. Before I knew it, right? Before I knew it, she sent me an invite, and I didn't realize I don't ride a lot of live rides, but it's pretty cool because when you ride live and you tell them that you're going to ride live, they like Kim texts me and Peloton texts me in the morning, right? So I showed up because I knew people were checking for me, right? And whereas, full disclosure, I might have rolled over and disappointed myself, I didn't want to disappoint my friend. And really, it wasn't even about her. I mean, it was, but it was about the accountability piece, right? Yeah. And that is why it's important to build. But I know I already know what y'all thinking. I know what somebody's saying, like, I ain't got no friends, I ain't got no Kims, I ain't got no Johnnies. Listen, let me tell you something. I have been a part of probably 5 masterminds this year, okay? Some I've paid for, some I haven't, all the things. You know how I got to be a part of those masterminds? I raised my hand. Right? Yeah. I didn't wait for someone, and I'm not saying this from a place of
because I wasn't this smart last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm mad. I probably would have been part 10 if I would have raised my hand sooner. But because I raised my hand, even with the peer group that we meet now, it's because we decided, right? All these people knew each other, but we decided, you know what? We have access to too many brilliant people, and we can share in this group too, for us not to just be having a meeting of the mind sometimes. And what I'm going to lay on somebody is sometimes you have to create the things you wish existed. Mm-hmm. If you wish there was a group of single mothers that would read a book once a month, then you get with 2 of your single mother girlfriends and you invite them. And then I'm going to take it back to episode 103. If they reject, if it's not a good fit for them, you don't get mad and say, well, that's why I don't do nothing with nobody. No, you found 2 more people, right?
Yeah.
So you figure out what you want. Look, let me bring it down. I'm getting a little excited.
No.
You figure,
I'm about to turn up in a minute.
You figure out what you want, and you have to go out here and create it. And if you're real, and the thing is the more you put out, what I am coming to understand about life and business, the more I put myself out there, the more my people find me.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But we first have to be willing to raise our hand and say, hey, this is what I need in my life.
All right. So I'm gonna give it to y'all because I am an Eagle Talk watcher. Right.
He's an Eagle Talk watcher.
I am. And if
I get so sick of hearing myself in the house because he will watch Eagle Talk.
I'm an Eagle Talk watcher, and just full disclosure, when I watch this episode later, if I don't give this example, I'm gonna be upset.
Okay.
So I have a lot of rentals in a particular city out here. I got over 20 in this one city. It's probably 7,000 people that live in this city. Very small city. And I have one maintenance guy. I've always had a problem. Leaky faucet, need to change the toilet, whatever. And I got one maintenance guy because there's not a lot of laborers in this city, but he literally has me in the chokehold, right? Will get back to me whenever he wants to get back to me, answer the phone when he wants. He'll get the job done, but it's totally on his time.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday, I'm upset because I got 3 or 4 problems to solve. Mm-hmm. He's not answering the phone, and me and you are sitting on the patio, and I'm just me. I'm complaining, right?
Yeah. So I know you kind of, you was like, y'all know that daddy on Everybody Hates Chris. That's who Corey can.
Oh yeah. But okay. So it's like solve the problem or your tenant's not gonna pay. Right. So I need to solve the problem. I have 20 something mortgages. I need to whatever. I'm talking to you, and I don't remember exactly what you said, but do you remember?
I remember what I said.
Okay, tell me what you said.
Well, I hit you with the Maya Angelou quote. Like, when people show you who you are, believe them, right? Okay. So on the 5th time, like my thing was like on the 5th time of he's only proving, right? And you telling me about another project you got coming up, and you already know you have all these problems.
2 more houses I just bought that need to be renovated.
And I was like honestly, you're inviting this into your life.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do? Like what can you? It has to be something. You can't tell me that he fixing all 7,000 people houses, right? It has to be another way.
Yeah.
And you were not happy with me in the moment.
I wasn't happy with you. And thank you.
Okay, he's shaking my hand.
I wasn't happy with you, but I got in problem solve mode, right? Yeah. And it took me back to my roots. So we got a young gentleman, 22 years old, that works with us. And I literally called him and I said, you know what? I need you to drive out here in the morning. I need you to be there at 8 a.m. And he was like, what do you need me to do? I said, I need you to sit in the parking lot of Home Depot, and every single truck, van, anything that drives up that has, construction, plumbing, roof, and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
With their signs, phone numbers, whatever. Then I need you to do that from like 8 to 9. Then from 9 to 10, I need you to go in Home Depot and walk through all of those aisles. Anybody you see,
get their cards.
He was literally, I showed, he was taking pictures of people's T-shirts if they didn't have a card.
Yeah.
And that worked to perfection, to where I told him to do it from 8 to 12. I paid him $250 for 4 hours of his time. Okay. By 12:30, I was so excited to have talking support systems.
Yeah.
I was so excited to have a new group of people. I put it in the family group text.
Right, with our son who 11.
Right. I got 23 new sources, business cards, just everybody, experienced people, laborers, because I was tired of one guy just having me
But yeah. But let's really look at that, okay? Because what that conversation, and this time it happened to be me, last time it was Johnny, by having a support system, being able to speak to a peer, because you are very much, I mean, we're very much husband and wife, but we're both business owners, right?
Yeah.
So to problem solve, sometimes when you are able to talk it through with somebody, you can get a perspective that you haven't not yet been exposed to. And the problem though is how many times I ain't gonna tell, even us, you ain't gonna say nothing to me because you already know I'm gonna say something. Or you're not gonna, I'm gonna figure it out by myself. So this is the point, y'all, of what we're saying, is that it's so much value. That's why when we have events, we're encouraging you to come. We're encouraging you to come. We're going to do another networking event in May. So y'all need to be on the lookout for it, because when you expand your footprint, you expand your footprint, right? And having those supports in place, I'm telling, and being a support, right?
For sure.
Having and being a support is one of the best things you can do, not only in business, but in life.
Yeah. And sorry to go off on my little rant, guys, but I just had to get that off my chest. But you know what? I'm not sorry, because I got in problem solve mode. Right. Just off a conversation that I needed to have. Because sometimes stuff just kind of, you think that stuff is bigger than, or the problem is bigger than it is. And it just takes that little moment, extra 5 or 10 minutes for you to think it through. And it's not a problem anymore.
It's not a problem.
Right. So support systems was a great subject for us today. I think we hit on a lot of good things that people needed to hear.
Yes. And look, this is what we want you to do. Go ahead, and if you got a few ways, but we need you to share this. So whether you hit that share button and you share it with a friend, whether you snap a picture if you're watching on YouTube and you send it to someone on, TikTok or social media or whatever you do. And what will really, really help us, because here's the deal, y'all. There are a lot of entrepreneurs out here struggling. And part of what we are doing on Eagle Talk could be the catalyst to just help them unlock some of their limiting beliefs. And the way that we can do that is we need to get this podcast in the hands of as many people as possible. So when you leave a review on podcast, when you leave a 5-star review, and honestly, we haven't had a review in a while and I'm confused. So when you leave a review, what that does is that the algorithm, it says, yes, this is what the folks need to hear. So we're building our support system, and we want to build our bandwidth so that we can support more of you. So if you could please share the podcast and leave a 5-star review, that would be so amazing, and we would appreciate it.
Well, this was a good one. We want to thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next week. Bye y'all.